Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shame for the championship. Bucking on town, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy and you probably smell the crooked referees or Roger Goodell. Buggy like this and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
Shout out to the mighty Who Dat Nation. We in this thing representing the Sports Coma, the great Saint Tank. Big ups to the Sports Coma family, the mighty Who Dat Nation. We up in this thing. Shout out to the fam. Appreciate y'all being in this late edition of the Coma. Big ups to the fam. Much love to everybody. We up in this thing. Shout out to the fam, man. Appreciate y'all. I just not too long got off the Pelican post-game report. Pelicans went down to the Heat, man. We here representing the Saints. Some news and notes, a lot of news to talk about in terms of the Saints. As you can see on screen currently, I have the overthecap.com salary cap space issues we talking about with the Saints. And of course, you see $4.2 million after the Saints made a few moves, and we'll cover that. And we'll also get into the offseason preview primer of what we're looking ahead for as the Saints start shaking and baking to try to make some stuff happen. Of course, we talked ad nauseum about some of the additions of the staff that the Saints have added. We talked about that in the previous streams as they go to totally revamp their offensive side of the ball. As Dennis Allen said, listen, I got the defense. I'm going to change it up for 20 years of Sean Payton's rhetoric or his style of play. We're going to bring in Klint Kubiak, and he'll bring that fantastic San Francisco 49ers offense. So he'll attempt to install a version of that in New Orleans, and we'll see how it all responds. So, man, it's a lot of stuff going on. So shout out to the family. I want to thank everybody, man, for all of the great birthday wishes as well. Shout out to the fam. Appreciate y'all. That boy alone, brother Josh, Dana, the Queens are up in here. Much love to Dana and the rest of the fam. Edward, what's happening, fam? Brother Gundam, shout out to you, fam. Appreciate you. So how we looking 2024, bro? We looking kind of desperate, brother. That's one word to describe the Saints move going into year number 3 under Dennis Allen. It's a bit of desperation going on here as the Saints have been outside of the playoff door or outside the playoff home for some time. We've been looking from the outside of the house, man. We're trying to get inside of there to compete for something greater than just get 9 wins in a 9 playoff year. So we're trying to break that stupid 9 playoff streak of 3 years with this year, and we'll see what the Saints have dialed up. But pretty much the same thing. We're going to go over several articles. We're going to talk about this, and then, of course, I'm going to kind of do a live reaction to an interview Dennis Allen did the other day with some guys from the NFL.com. So anyway, shout out to you, brother Gundam. BJ, what's up, fam? Pelican Nola. Pammy, shout out to you, Queen. Good to see you up in this thing, brother Slim. Antoinette was popping, Queen. Good to see you in the building. G-Fly, much love. Appreciate you. OG Jared, shout out to you, fam. Appreciate you being in here as well. Big ups to the fam. King Morrison's in this thing. You know, I got to give a shout out to the entire Who Dat Nation, man. We appreciate y'all for being there. Bronze, I see you, fam. Much love to you. Appreciate you as well. Much love to the fam. All right. Also, thank you, Bronze, for those 2 months of being a member of the fam. Much love, man. Listen, appreciate you. Yeah. What's up, Kathleen? How you doing, Queen? Appreciate you as well. Lori, much love to the queens, man. You know, I always got to get the queens some love, man. Much love to the queens out there and the kings, man. I can give the brothers out there some love too. So shout out to everybody, man. Appreciate y'all. And this, how you doing? Relax music and rain sounds. All right. That sounds pretty good. All right. Quaveda, shout out to you, fam. Appreciate you as well. So anyway, much love to, I see you, Maul. Much love, fam. Appreciate you. All right. All right, Dougie. I don't know if I can say that, Big Dougie. All right, how about that, man? Much love to you, brother. I appreciate you being in the stream. All right, so anyway, fam, let's delve right into it, shall we? And y'all can feel free to ask questions, fam, throughout, and I'll see if I spotlight you if you have any questions or comments throughout the stream. Y'all kind of kick your feet back and kind of relax, man, because this is gonna be a journey, man. It might be an hour and a half, at least an hour and a half stream. I'm not gonna tell you I'm gonna get you out of here like church, and then you be mad at me because you missed the ball game after church. And the preacher like, man, listen, I'm trying to save y'all soul, man. Hell with that ball game, that type of stuff. Yeah, you get mad at the preacher. Listen, man, you only get mad because the preacher tell you, hey, listen, it's gonna be a quick show, it's gonna be a quick service, and then y'all can I'm gonna release y'all. And then go like 2 hours into it. That's the worst thing you could tell people. Just go ahead and do your sermon, brother. Just don't, just do your thing, bro. Just save some souls, man. Don't worry about that. What's up, Brent? Shout out to you, man. Appreciate you. Shedrick, much love. Appreciate the fam being in this thing. Nah, Pam, I ain't on the clock. Don't put me on the clock tonight. Nah, don't put me on the clock tonight. I ain't on the clock tonight. I'm gonna fail. Yeah, that's every preacher, right, Dougie? Yeah, well, listen, babe, we're gonna get y'all out of here. It's a quick service. We know it's Easter. Listen. It's the Sunday before Easter Sunday. We're gonna try to get y'all in and get y'all out of here. We know we got something going on here. So listen, I know y'all got the ball game at home, but listen, we'll do some quick service, and then we'll be out there. And then he gets the running off, and then all of a sudden the Holy Ghost gets a hold of the preacher, and then he does a 2 or 3 hour sermon, which was supposed to be an hour sermon. That happens, man. So y'all each one of y'all been through that, man. Y'all knowing y'all sit up here saying, man, I thought he was going. Why? You see, you missing the message because you're upset because he told you it's gonna be a quick sermon and it's 3 hours later. So don't do that, preacher. Just preach your stuff, man, and whatever time the good Lord give you to get it and get out of there. You see what I'm saying? All right, so yeah, right, yeah, you get there and then you find he trying to save some souls. That's what he trying to do. All right, thank you, Ball. Appreciate y'all, man. Yeah, checking it and everything. You looking at your watch and stuff, y'all. And I know the instance sometimes the minister see y'all face kind of looking and peering in people's eyes and stuff. And that's how I go, man. That's just how I go. All right, yeah, you missed the word because you mad. That's how I go. But anyway, fam, let me jump right off into it. So anyway, a few things happen, man. Let's touch on this, man. The salary cap is much higher than anticipated. That's why it's big news for the Saints. And that, of course, we know that, family, because the NFL made a lot of money this past season with all of the TV contracts, all of the gambling revenue. It's made more money than it's ever had before. It broke a lot of records across the board. These guys got even more richer in terms of the ownership because, of course, there's not no cap on the owners. There's no cap on the players. But the owners can make as much money as they want to make, and they banked out huge in this past season and even had one of the most watched events in television history. This last Super Bowl was astronomical in terms of viewership, and they just banked out major league this year, the NFL. So, of course, NFL revealed Friday that the salary cap would jump to $255.4 per team, an unprecedented $30 million increase that greatly benefits the Saints as they navigate the annual gymnastics. Shout out to Nola. With the scoop, previous estimations for the next season salary will be around $242, which meant the Saints would have cleared more than $80 million to become cap compliant by the start of free agency. But with the figure higher than expected, the Saints will not only have less to clear, but also potentially more room to work as they pursue upgrades to the roster. So at some point, we realized that you would eventually, now we was dealing with the C-19 stuff that kind of cleared the way. And of course, we knew at some point, and this was forecasted several years ago before all of the contracts came due and were signed, that they knew there would eventually be a major jump in terms of salary cap, but a lot of stuff we're going to go over as well. All right, shout out to you, Brent. Like Carr and DA wanted to praise the Falcons. Come on, man. Thank you, Brent. Appreciate you for that, my friend.
I want to say thank you very much. Picking me up, bringing me back to this.
All right, shout out to the fam, man. I don't think y'all heard that one right. Let me do it.
I want to say thank you very much. Picking me up, bringing me back to this world.
All right, so shout out to you. Thank you, Brent, for that super chat. Yeah, man. Listen, bro, that I'm gonna bounce back on that, man, and talk about that. But yeah, this is something I'm going to remember going into the season because listen, I don't get fooled by all of the smoke and mirrors because every year the Saints turn it up and they sign people here, they sign people there, and they do a good job in the offseason accruing talent. The problem is taking it from, and I often say this, it seems like it's traditional every offseason that the New Orleans Saints head coach under, the staff under Dennis Allen has difficulty translating from the offseason to the on season. Like all these assets, all these players, all of this stuff that we add, they have difficulty translating that into consistent success that ultimately will lead to us having a playoff berth. So you had going on 3 years of Dennis Allen as a head coach, and people say, well, we started 7-10, now we're 9-8. That means we're making progress. Well, listen, fam, all I can tell you is I don't care about none of that doorstep crap. That's not what we're looking at. The Saints are one of the oldest, if not the oldest team in the NFL right now. They have a window. They have to win, and they have to win right now. A lot of our top players are very old guys. They're productive old guys, but they're old guys. And eventually, Father Time will start winning the battle against them. You got Cam, you got DeMario, you got Tyrann Mathieu, and others. A lot of these guys are getting up there. And for you to really maximize the window of having some of those older guys on top of the team, you have to take advantage of that. And they failed at doing that. So, I mean, they done just totally wasted away a lot of the last couple of years with ineptitude and mismanagement. So I'm not going to turn on the hopium fountain right now, but it's results time. We need to see some results from the Saints to make this pop. So anyway, shout out to y'all, man. Let's get back into the article. Previous estimates for next season's salary cap were 242, which meant the Saints would have cleared more than 80 million by the start of free agency, but the figure higher than expected. The Saints will not only have to less to clear, but potentially more room to work as they pursue upgrades to the roster. Now, the NFL said that each team also will have an additional 74 million for player benefits, including performance-based pay and benefits for retired players. The unprecedented jump, quote, was the result of full repayment of all amounts advanced by clubs and deferred by players during the C-19 stuff, which means some of the extra money that they had that from the I guess which from I ain't gonna say the lack of what happened with the C-19 stuff, the money they couldn't make because of the attendance and all this kind of stuff. They lost some money. And you never really lost. They kind of claimed that money. But then a lot of the money that was supposed to be deferred to those things are now being moved to that because of the overage. So anyway, the 21 season, the NFL signed an 11-year, 113 billion with a B media rights deal, ridiculous, and 5 networks that started to take place in 23. Now, the increase will mean New Orleans not only is the only market north of 40 million left to be cleared by the start of the league's new year, which begins on March the 13th. The Saints have already taken several steps to clear space over the few months by restructuring the contracts of Laddie Daddy, Jameis Winston, Eric McCoy, and Derek Carr. And we're going to cover some of those stories today. The NFL's announcement came hours after a report emerged that the Saints restructured Carr's contract, a move that will alone save $23 million by converting all but the league minimum $1.2 million of Carr's $30 million salary into a bonus. This is the same thing they do every year, by the way. Same thing they do every year when they convert that into a signing bonus for what they do, and then a lot of the stuff they just kick it into the future. And really, this is a technique because this is a bit of a same thing that Mickey does. It was a process in which he said last year that he would stop doing to kick the can philosophy and focus on working the team back to the black, which means moving his accounting back to the middle of the table as opposed to kicking the can. But all he knows is kicking of the can. We don't, as an organization under him, he don't know nothing but kick the can, because he believes every season will be we'll bank out, we'll do what we're supposed to do. I don't know if you're supposed to be kicking the can for a team that is not really, at some point something's got to shake. So I mean, here we go again, right? But anyway, by restructuring the 4 contracts according to Over the Cap, the Saints have created a total of $37.5 million in space. When restructuring contracts, the Saints are effectively pushing money into the future to clear up room for the present, kicking the can down the road. And this should be something that you guys hear all the time, because this is what your United States government does. It doesn't take responsibility for what it's doing. It'll just simply, the people that's there know what's going on. They know how bad it is. And instead of dealing with it themselves, they'll just kick it down the can to the next people to deal with. And it just goes on and on and on and on and on until there's no more can to kick. And eventually the bill got to come due. So anyway, when the restructuring contracts, the Saints are effectively pushing the money into the future. This strategy was done for years, first to capitalize on former quarterback Drew Brees' remaining seasons, and now to keep their core intact. And this is one of the things we talked about, the vision and the plan, because I'm one of several of the great Saint think tank historians, the professor, Uncle Paulie, and several others that do keep account of how the Saints operated over years. So when we talk about these items or we make mention of this stuff, we always have a present and future and a past take in it, as opposed to just telling you about what's going on now, because it makes it all interesting when you can get that expanded view with all of that extra information in it, all of that knowledge and that information in it. And basically what my mind tells me, what we saying is, when I hear all of this stuff, because I've covered this for a long time, and I'm telling you that when I mentioned the Saints supposed to be a lot further along, and why they're not there is because of 2 things. It's mismanagement and non-accountability. That is the 2 biggest problems the New Orleans Saints organization have. And the non-accountability aspect goes all the way up until some of the higher rungs of the organization, all the way up to some of the top rungs of the organization, when certain people are not being held into that accountability model. And when you have a guy that believes in kicking the can down the road and banking on things, and it has worked for him for a while, and continue to do it even though you don't have the same head coach that you had then, a guy that you could kind of trust a little bit to kind of work with that. But even under Sean Payton, that was that non-accountability thing, because when Tom Benson died and transitioned out of the world and closed his eyes, a lot of these guys lost their damn mind. They really did, and started tripping and just doing this kind of stuff, and I really don't like it. But at the end of the day, I can't do nothing about it but speak on it. I'm not going to, I've just got to tell you the truth and keep it real. But the Drew Brees thing rubs me the wrong way, because they should have knew when it was time to pull the trigger on Drew, meaning to say hasta la vista, baby. They could have let Drew Brees go a long time ago, and had they made the right decision to bring a guy here, things would have changed insofar as we could have had this all could have been different. We couldn't have been suffering with a Derek Carr or a Dennis Allen here. I mean, I think things would be different. But anyway, let's go into it. With the salary cap higher than anticipated, the Saints may have to touch as many players' contracts. They don't have to touch as many contracts this offseason as previously thought, but they can restructure the same amount of deals they originally planned. And enjoy the extra space provided. In the past year, the Saints have restructured deals in part to be aggressive in free agency. That's how they landed players like Carr for $150 million, Tyrann Mathieu for $28 million on 3 years. And at his season-ending news conference, General Manager Mickey Loomis said he anticipated the Saints conducting business as usual. That means kicking that damn can. I don't know that change is the right word. When asked whether the Saints will look to change their approach, we just have to be conscious of making up some ground in the next few years, and there are different ways to do that. Mickey Loomis said that in I think the last press conference we covered. But remember, at the start of the season, He mentioned about working it back to the black. Put one in the chat if you remember him saying that. That's all a bunch of BS because he don't know how to work it back to the black. All he knows how to do is work it into the red and keep working it into the red until the red gets redder and redder and redder till the shit turn purple. I mean, that's all the man know how to do. He don't know how to work it to the black, fam. I don't remember there was a time when, maybe a long time ago, that he did that. But from my recent memory of his steps, all he knows how to do is work it into the red. I mean, he doesn't have, I just hadn't seen it. These moves can come a long-term ramifications. Saints want to release Carr after the 24th season. For example, they'll face a now steeper price to do that. Instead of the $27 million left in dead money on his original deal, Carr's restructured contract will carry $50 million charge if he cut prior to June 1st, 2025. So that means, baby, you know what that means, baby? You're going to have a brand new old ass used car for at least another year or so. You're going to work him. You're going to get rid of him at a $50 million dead hit? I don't think so. Still, for Carr specifically, the Saints still have a little flexibility should they want to move on. New Orleans brass could spread that charge over the following 2 seasons with a post-June 1st designation, a tactic that the front office has used over the last few years. Either way, the Saints have more moves to make to get ready for this year's free agency, but the path becomes a little easier Friday thanks to the unexpected cap spike. Indeed, Saints get blessed with a spike in the cap, which would a normal team would say, hey, let's just work with this and keep doing this, that, and third. But like I said, when you think about the mindset of the New Orleans Saints organization moving into this season, with the coach, a very unpopular coach, with the support base of the team, and the fact that you have a general manager that's thoroughly desperate and a coach that's desperate to try to get the team into the playoffs because he can't spin it too longer. His rope is run out. So you're going to see them operate with that spear. So they're going to go even more into the red to try to get the team on the right note. And like I said, getting Klint Kubiak here is not a bad move, but the whole situation is, remember, and I'm here to bring balance. I'm not here to throw the universe into a state of darkness. I am not, if you're not Star Wars, people know what I'm talking about. But listen, all I can tell you is that Kubiak, I like his style, for his mentality, but he's never done this before, right? He's a new coordinator doing this for the first time. He got some people he's worked with before. I don't know how Derek Carr will acquiesce to the system. I know that Sean Payton's system with Derek Carr took a very long time. It took all the way up to the last month of the season before we seen progress, any substantial progress from him. And if Klint Kubiak really wants to get the most mileage out of Carr, pun intended, then they would have to kind of work out these bad habits that he's developed over the last 10 plus years of being an NFL quarterback. Bad habits like only looking half of the field down, bad habits like staring wide receivers down and throwing the ball without reading the full field, seeing where those safeties are, or looking off safeties, or punt faking to the left and throwing to the right. Those little things that help you get a little further down the line. If he can do that, and if he's a stickler to detail, like a lot of the research I've done on him, he's got a serious eye for detail. If he can do that, we might see something here. But is that the biggest thing to be concerned about in terms of Klint Kubiak's new system with the Saints offense? I think not. Maybe the biggest thing is the offensive line, finding the correct group of linemen to operate his scheme here, and how he wants to run the running game will be a very big thing. And I think that's more important, getting the running game going consistently, and then Carr on the back of the running game. He has a task. It's not exactly he's walking into a team. We have some people that are not going to be here, that are moving on, and we have to find the right amount of right people to be able to do that. So we're going to see. But anyway, the restructuring is done. Let's look at of course, this is the over the cap sum. As you can see, 42 with everything has done that the Saints have done with the restructurings that I currently mentioned, you can see they're currently in the red by $42 million according to Over the Cap. So anyway, and this is some of the articles to speak about with the Saints restructuring Derek Carr's contract. We covered a little bit of that, and that was sourced from the tweet by Jeremy Fowler earlier today. With them, the contract for salary cap purposes, they restructured it and will save $23 million in cap relief. Carr is due $30 million in base salary, so converting a portion into a signing bonus can provide immediate savings, and that's no secret on that. We also talk about the Cesar Ruiz contract restructure. They're looking at doing that. Another contract on the way for the Saints to work through. Cesar Ruiz, according to Jeremy Fowler, shout out to Bob on this one, Friday that the Saints plan to restructure the contract of offensive guard Cesar Ruiz, and and we know how that all went with Cesar, who got his deal as well. So anyway, let's move on, family. Let's drop right into the leagues or the NFL's primer here. Shout out to Yahoo on this one, as this is sourced from that. NFL offseason primer, league's worst cap situation and the challenges that come with it. The Saints 9-8 missed the playoffs last year, failing to clinch the team's first playoff berth in 2020. Didn't cost Dennis Allen his job, but he certainly felt the heat prompting some changes to his coaching staff. Offensive coordinator hiring of Klint Kubiak from the Niners, the passing game coordinator, and fire of Pete Carmichael, who ran up under Sean Payton's dress in Denver, as we indicated. Quarterback Derek Carr, an object for scorn for Saints family members, will be charged with leading the offense, which figures to be the primary focus for New Orleans upgrades. And he's the scorn of, because the great Saint think tank and who that nation is, because he underperformed. He underperformed and failed at his responsibilities. And it wasn't a good looking show even for most of the year, with the banter and the run-on sentences and all of the stuff and the excuses. And sometimes he got caught lying and stuff like that. We covered it all during the season here. That won't win you anything, because we don't like that. We don't like BS artists. We don't like people who make excuses. We don't want to hear that. We just want to see results. That's all you're getting the money. You want us to give you an excuse before you give the paper. You don't want to hear that, dude. You don't want to, well, we're not going to pay you because of it. It rained yesterday, and on rainy days, the bank is closed. You don't want to hear all that. You just, well, where my money at? So we won't see results. And that's what we didn't get. We didn't get the kind of results that we were expecting. And prepare to watch the Saints do some jiu-jitsu routine against the salary cap. Is that what he calls it? The key free agents for the Saints. We know about Andrew Speed. Trey Turner didn't play much at all for the Saints. He got hurt right after the Saints signed him. Zach Barnes, a guy you got to look out for. And Isaac Yiadom. No, the last two guys on the free agent charts, we don't know exactly what the Saints are going to do. They finally found a role for Zach Bowen. Well, actually, they knew what to do with Zach Bowen when they drafted him. They just didn't do it. And then eventually, when they, on the back end of at the end of his rookie contract, they were like, what the hell, let's try it. And it worked. But credit to the Saints that when they drafted him, and I remember playing interviews when Sean Payton drafted him, that was his intention, to be a pass rusher for him. But then it changed where they wanted to turn him into a linebacker, and it went south. But when they brought him back to what he was good at, he shined. Now, does he come back to the Saints? I'll let you guys answer that into the chat, whether or not you want Zach Bowen back and what would be the proper price to bring him back. I'm feeling like he might head up to Wisconsin. That's what I'm thinking. But anyway, we'll see. Isaac Yiadom performed well. Now, Isaac Yiadom was a guy, undrafted guy, who really stepped up. He changed and had a fantastic season for the Saints in the reserve capacity. He excelled big time. And one of the key things I used to talk about with Isaac Yiadom when I was scouting Isaac Yiadom was the fact that he had bad technique insofar as turning his head around to locate the ball. Seemed like he was just worried about getting beat. And usually when the cornerbacks have that kind of, they don't adjust and turn their head around to locate where the ball is to make a play on the ball. Isaac Yiadom played with a lot of confidence. So shout out to Joe Woods, because he really helped unlock Yiadom. And Yiadom played phenomenally in a reserve capacity. And even in some moments where he was having to step in for an injured starter, he made some really positive plays. So if the Saints bring him back, we'll see. Who's in and out? Pete, a 3-time Pro Bowler, feels like a priority signing for the Saints. No, Pete's done, man. considering the consistency he brings to the offensive line. Yeah, no. Which needs it. Turner never made it in the training camp. It is unclear if the Saints want to gamble again on a veteran who's entering his 11th NFL season. I would say no to that because the Klint Kubiak train is here. It parked off at the Amtrak station right by the Superdome. He got off, walked into the dome, and now he's here. And you want to see the type of guys run that style of offense, that zone blocking system. And I don't think that's Andrews Pete at all. And Trey Turner is a guy, maybe, I don't know. I think Klint Kubiak might have his own ideas of who he wants. Key free agents, offensive tackle. They're looking at the needs, offensive tackle, edge rusher, and defensive tackle. Do you guys agree with this? Do you agree with the key needs that's listed here? Do you agree that offensive tackle, obviously the biggest need I think the Saints have is the offensive tackle position, no doubt about it. You don't have a blindside tackle currently. Andrews Pete was the blindside tackle that the Saints were using. Now you do have a first-round draft pick, former first-round draft pick offensive lineman that was drafted to play tackle, but he did not excel at the left tackle position. Who would have known that he would have failed that? Yeah, well, anybody with common sense would have known that because there is a special breed of rookie left tackle people that you put at that position. And you know who they are when they come out of college. And Penning wasn't that guy. I knew he was athletic and gifted. I just didn't think he was that guy. When you know those type of guys when you see them coming out of college. When Tony Buselli came out of college, you knew who he was. You seen guys like Orlando Pace, when he came out of college, you knew. Willie Roaf, when he came out of college, you knew. You see these guys and you know who they are. You see what they look like. And I just didn't see left tackle in Penning. And Penning, Saints will have to figure out what to do with Penning. I mean, that's a whole nother thing. Edge rusher. Is edge rusher number 2 to you guys? Do you really think edge rusher is number 2? The Saints are littered with edge rushers, right? You might not like them. Some people might agree. They might say Cam is old, but Cam is being paid. Cam is being paid as starter money. Starter, he will play. You gave Carl Granderson money on the other side. He will play. You look at the guys that you have a first-round draft pick you put on Peyton Turner. The Saints still want to see if he can play. You drafted another guy in the second round of the draft last year in Isaiah Foskey, the Snowman. The Saints won't see if he can play. So the Saints have is one thing they have edge rushers. Now there's questions around 3 of those guys. Now Cam, his age and the fact that he had that ankle issue that slowed him down greatly last year. A lot of people thinking Cam could be possibly done. I'm not one of those people. I think Cam Joy can still give you something. Now, in terms of Peyton Turner and Isaiah Foskey, the Snowman, the word is still out on them. Peyton Turner just can't stay healthy. He just cannot stay healthy. He'll have another opportunity this year to figure out whether he can or not. But edge rusher, I don't know if it's a top need for the Saints. With what they added. And remember, the Saints signed or pretty much they brought in 3 new acquisitions into the interior defensive line with Nate Shepard, a big boy who stepped up in there, Colin Saunders, Nate Shepard, and Brian Bresee. Those guys were 3 additions. Bresee through the draft, the other 2 through free agency to revamp the Saints interior defensive line, and the aforementioned defensive lineman that sits there. And of course you have Passanio that's there as well. So is edge rusher really that big of a need at the top 3 position need? I wouldn't say something. He got defensive tackle up here. I would disagree with that. I don't think edge rusher is you can get one later on, or if one falls to you, if you have one, I guess you would take it. But in the end, they're still the way the Saints operate. We're not talking about how you think, because you're a normal person with good sense. We talking about the New Orleans Saints organization, see you looking at it in your intelligent way. We talking about the Saints over here. You got to jumble up that thinking a little bit. Why the holes? Pete could walk. The Saints are still recovering from Penning's shortcomings and flirtation with being a first-round draft bust. The Saints defense is in need of someone to put more heat on the quarterback, as New Orleans tallied only 34 sacks last season, tied for the 4th fewest in the league, which is a good point. The fewest sacks and the pressures. So how do you then compensate for that? Because even if you do bring in more talent, how did the talent did get to the forefront unless injuries occur? And if Cam Jordan and Carl Granderson is there and the situational pass rusher is Peyton Turner or Isaiah Foskey, how did this other edge rusher makes it to the forefront to add something to the team? Is this something schematically the Saints could do to improve upon getting the pass rush done? Do Dennis Allen have to do something differently, be a little bit more aggressive in terms of if that's concerned, move some guys around? I mean, is this something schematically we can do to do that? Because I really don't think they're gonna take no edge rusher high. That's just I don't think, thinking how they think, I don't think they're gonna do it. Do they have the money? The Saints have the second worst salary cap situation. This was written prior to the restructuring here of the core deal. You know, you can see that $38.8 million potential cap cuts here is Michael Thomas, and they got Elvin Kamara. Elvin Kamara is not going anywhere. In my estimation, Mike Thomas, I do believe that Mike Thomas is played this last season with the Saints. I think both people need a change of venue. I think the Saints could definitely move on for Michael Thomas, and I think it's time. I think Michael Thomas feels like it's time for him to move on, that he's not appreciated here. He had the little stuff going on with Twitter, and usually when they start doing that, that's a telltale sign that they're on the outside looking and about to move on. Why they might be gone, the Saints can't guard Mike. Old, as he says, of old is long gone, and the number one threat at wideout. He's now a $12.4 million schedule hit against the cap in 24 as Elvin Kamara. Again, the Saints are facing these pesky salary cap issues, and their star running back is an almost $19 million schedule hit against the cap. I don't think Elvin goes nowhere this year, but if you go and pull up Elvin Kamara's contract and see that year where it jumps, when it has that astronomical jump there, do the Saints pull the trigger and say, okay, we're going to go with a different style of running back here with Klint Kubiak's system? Is that something to think about? Remember, when we have all of these ideas in mind, remember Klint Kubiak is your offensive coordinator and not Pete Carmichael, which thrives in that capacity. But then again, remember what Klint Kubiak was able to do with Christian McCaffrey. Now, him and Elvin Kamara are not exactly the same guys, but these guys, but in a system, these multi-purpose, faceted style running backs like an Elvin Kamara and a Christian McCaffrey. Could you imagine what a Klint Kubiak style offense could do for one as talented as Elvin Kamara, man? One could only imagine what that could be, what that pairing could really be, to be honest with you, fam. That would be phenomenal. But we'll see how it all faces. Draft picks. First round pick, number 14, the second round pick from the Broncos, a 45 pick, and then the Saints don't pick until the 5th round. They got, and of course, we'll see about what the compensatory models also lay out for us. 5th round, 6th round, they got 2 6 from the Eagles and 1 7. We'll see what the compensatory pick models lay out for us as well. So, I mean, it'll be interesting. DGX says, Q, do you think drafting an O-lineman is priority? Because drafting a skill player. Me personally, family, I don't. If you're picking high at number 4, if you're picking in the middle of the draft at 14, you're liable to get anybody right there. And I mean to say, like, you're gonna get a good player that could fall to you. You might get a really good offensive lineman that falls to you right there, but you got a $150 million quarterback. What do the Saints do? They're clearing up this money. They can obviously be players in free agency. They can go in free agency and see if they can find a veteran offensive lineman, because you're going to have to get offensive linemen to kind of fit your scheme of what you're doing. I think a guy like McCoy, and I even think Ruiz, those guys are athletic enough to be able to do what you want them to do. But I'm more than certain that Klint Kubiak's also going to have to go, him and John Benton, who's the offensive line coach. They're going to put their heads together and figure out which offensive lineman that's out there that fits what they want to do. And remember, the Saints, they had running woes all up and down the season last year. They couldn't consistently run the ball. They couldn't consistently open up running lanes for Kamara or Jamal Williams. It was very frustrating. Offensive linemen at consistent intervals will look confused when they pull out. If you're doing toss and sweeps, they would get out there and then not block anybody. Sometimes it will miss blocks and the play would be disjointed. It wouldn't be as profitable as it was intended to be. You know, it just was it was half-assed. So if you want to get the type of people you want in there, I think Klint Kubiak probably want to focus on getting that offensive line right, because you're not going to have much going on if you don't hit that line right. So that's probably the biggest part of what they got to do. What they have to figure out is get the right collection of offensive linemen there to get that system going. But you looking at O-line, I think O-line has to be a priority. You're looking at not only at the left tackle position, but how about the left guard position? You know, I mean, people like Hurst, but man, at some points in the times, I remember Hurst looked a lot better. He's gotten older, and Hurst is ready for the Hurst, the black one. You know, ready the black one, and take him somewhere where it's quiet at. You know, where a lot of stone is sticking up out of the ground. Because the bottom line is, they just looked terrible. The left side of the line didn't look hot. McCoy at times was on the ground as much. I joked about it during the season. McCoy was on the ground so much I thought he was a landscaper. I thought he was a damn landscaper up there on the ground, planting flowers and stuff, putting mulch down. I mean, he was on the ground a lot. And Cesar Ruiz wasn't exactly not far off. I mean, they really didn't look like nothing. And of course, Ryan Ramczyk, your highest paid offensive lineman at the right tackle position, probably is not going to play next year. So right tackle, left tackle, potentially left guard. Yeah, you got like 3 spots on your team that are question marks that he would have to deal with. To find he being Klint Kubiak, telling Dennis Allen, hey, I want this guy. I need this guy to run this. And whatever he gets, he's going to give him a grocery list and he's going to go for it. But I think offensive lineman, it's got to be up on that list if you're looking at it through a draft perspective, but also skilled players too. Like you know, Mike Thomas, I think Mike Thomas is done with the Saints. So if a skilled wide receiver falls to the Saints at 14, do you take him? How about a fantastic tight end out of the University of Georgia? How about him? How about the best tight end in the draft? If he falls to you there, and really not really a traditional tight end, you know, the guy is, you know, kind of different. He's a different mold of tight end. If he falls, do you take him and plug him into your Klint Kubiak style offense? So, I mean, are we flexible as we think we are? If Lattimore is a guy that is consumed in trade rumors, and if he's a trade piece, do you address that position? You see? So, I mean, it's a lot of stuff shaking and going on right here that the Saints can move around and go to with that pick, man. So thanks for the question. All right, Rams says, who that Q? Long time no here, getting ready to celebrate my 30. Oh, congratulations, brother, to you next week. And big ups to you, Ramsey. 34 years being married, man. That's a very positive thing. So shout out to you, brother. Shout out to you and your wife, man. DGX says left tackle is the biggest need. Yes, receiver. I agree. Receivers up there too, fam. All right. So anyway, let's get back to the article. You see the draft picks right there. And of course, a good draft fit, Brock Bowers. They mentioned here in the article. Why him? He ranked number 3 on somebody's draft prospects list. And he does have versatility, especially a creative offensive coordinator. He's a willing blocker, but has limits in the inline position. His ability to win outside and in the slot passing game, along with his ability to create explosives whenever he touches the ball, is worth the price for a team with a plan. So Klint Kubiak's a guy that does have the offensive imagination to perhaps use a Brock Bowers in league with perhaps a Juwan Johnson, another player that we can unlock and get a lot of good value out. And Juwan Johnson had a difficult season. I mean, he had a lot of positives in there, but man, my goodness, man, to be honest with you, the Saints offense at times, you know, it just was – I don't know. I mean, at times things could have been a lot better. I shout out to John, brother John. We did a breakdown on Chris Olave. It's one of my favorite player for the Saints in this past year. I picked Chris Olave. I did a report on him talking about his statistics, and I thought that this kid could have had a lot better statistics if it was better offense and quarterback play. He could have had over 100 catches on this year and turn in a lot of positive stuff. So we'll see how it all acts. All right, DJX, thank you. Appreciate you, fam. Appreciate you. All right, he says, thanks, Q, for my opinion. I can get ready for the yeah, there you go. Yeah, The Rock opened that up, man. he got that took both those leagues and combined them. And what I didn't like, he eliminated like 4 teams out of the leagues, including the Breakers. And I don't know if they'll bring them back at a later date, but I just thought that was, yeah, I ain't like that, man, you know. But anyway, Dana says O-line, DE, or DE O-line. Okay, she got defensive line and offensive line as needs. Okay, thank you. Covada says you still need Ed Rudger. Cam getting older, and you got 2 question marks with Foskey and Turner, but the offensive tackle should be the first need. I get you with the Cam thing, but like we said, when we often think about, fam, when we talk about the New Orleans Saints, remember what we always do. We look at it from our perspective. A lot of times, you guys got to remember, when you're dealing with the Saints, you ain't always dealing with commonsensical people here. You know, you're not always dealing with people that's looking at it the same way. You get what I'm saying? Oftentimes, you got guys that's doing it like I said. Well, that's why when I approached the defensive end position, I was saying to you guys, whoever you decide that you're going to sign and bring on the team, how in the hell they going to get to the field? I mean, you got to go through Dennis Allen to get to the field. And we know Dennis Allen, even though he's a good defensive coordinator, he sucks as a head coach. So, I mean, I'm good for having depth there. But, like, remember we talked about this before, where when we get to training camp and we were pushing for them to sign a veteran defensive end to bring them here, and the Saints would not sign a credible defensive end. And you could pick the guy, whether it was Robert Quinn or same dude we always talk about every year. What's his name? I forgot his name, man. Clowney. It'll be Clowney. Yeah, Q, they need to go get Jadeveon Clowney, or what's the brother that played for the Colts, the Bears, and all these other cats. I mean, we would often say, yo, let's go out and get this guy. Do the Saints go out and get him? And they never go and get him. Who do they end up getting? They end up getting some guy that you never heard of from some practice squad from somewhere that won't ever see the light of day. Why did they do that? Because the Saints have on their team the guys that they want to be there. And those guys, and like we talked about Cam getting old, but remember, Cam's plan for them drafting Cam was Peyton Turner, right? We knew that was Davenport's replacement, but he doubled as a potential for Cam. So you already got in their mind Cam's replacement on the team in the personage of Peyton Turner. And then when that went awry, the Saints then doubled down this past year and get Isaiah Foskey, the snowman, which from a college standpoint, the guy has it all. He just had a really horrible rookie year. He was hurt. He didn't see the field well. And when he did finally see the field, he was a rookie, you know. So we would have to see a much more improved Isaiah Foskey coming up this season. He's got the athletic ability. He has the size. He got to get a little bit more stronger. He got to work on his fundamental stuff, his movements, his techniques. But at the end of the day, that's how they seeing it. So even if you looking for Cam's replacement, it was supposed to be Peyton Turner, 1st round draft pick, 2nd round pick. These are high draft picks we talking about here that the Saints drafted. And we know the Saints don't want to look bad when they draft these guys and then bringing more guys on top of over them to play on the team. They're just simply not going to do that. That's what I was saying to you guys about them doing that. I don't see that happening. I really don't see that happening. All right. So anyway, like I said, we talk about normal people now. We talk about the Saints. That's a whole nother level of crazy, you know? So like I said, like I could bring up the depth chart. Hold on here. I can bring up the Saints. Hold on. Let me see if I get the unofficial depth chart for the Saints. But that's what I'm saying at the end of the day. Offensive line, that's an easy one because there are basically 3 spots that the Saints need to deal with for the Saints for the offensive line. The left tackle position, the left guard position, and the right tackle position. Ramczyk, he's not going to play next year. That is so serious that he might not play for the, depending on what the doctors say about Ramczyk playing in the future. But from what a lot of people are saying, word on the street, it ain't looking good for Ramczyk, for him playing. So especially next year, so you have to look that down. You don't have and listen, those are big needs. We talking left tackle and right tackle, the bookends. So at some point, even if you decide Penning's going to be one of those guys, and that's not something that they decided on yet, because Kubiak has to figure out if the guy has it or if they're going to kick him inside to be a guard, maybe the left guard or whatnot. I personally think that he needs to be tried at the right tackle position before they ultimately decide to guard him up and turn him into a guard. Let's try him at right tackle. But right now, with how does the young guy come back from, he's a first round draft pick that people are throwing busts at right now. He's a potential bust, this, that, and the third. He can very well turn this around. He really could. I mean, he has the temperament. Now, whether he said in interviews that he was suffering from confidence issues because of that, that's not good. Him being buried. Now, one or two things can happen. He can sink further down in the dirt, or he can rise and take the challenge of being of stepping up. So I don't want him to be a left tackle. That's out. Although I can try him at the right tackle position because it's a first round grade, and you just can't have a first round draft pick guy on your team that is going to, you got undrafted guys or guys off the street like Cam Irvin. They did that to him last year. Had Cam Irvin off the practice squad playing at the position, and you got a first round draft. That you have to give him an opportunity to kind of prove himself, at least under the new group of offensive coaches, to see if he has what it takes to be there. So, man, that's very fascinating, that whole little situation. So, but they still got several other spots on offensive line, and that's the most important position. A lot of this stuff that Kubiak's talking about doing with the 49ers offense, man, you got to have big, strong, mobile offensive linemen that can move and know what they're doing. And they got to have an attitude when they're out there. They ain't out there playing patty cake with these guys. They can't be out there playing patty cake with these guys. They got to go out there and maul these guys out of the way to free up room so the running back can get to that area of space. They got to get out there and make it happen. And we ain't see that often with the Saints this past year. But like I said, man, we'll see how it all shakes and goes, man. Y'all keep throwing your questions in. Quave says we should be just paying Taysom over $10 million to play special teams or a gadget player. That's too much money for that. Taysom is old, man. Taysom is one of those players we talked about that's up in age. Taysom Hill is, how old is Taysom Hill? Man, Taysom Hill is in his mid-30s, I want to say. He's one of those guys. Taysom Hill is, I think I want to say, yeah, he's 33 years old, man. Taysom is he's one of those guys. He's one of them, those older, productive players, and that's making a lot of money. But how does Taysom Hill look in Kubiak's offense? That's another thing too. Do the Saints keep using him in the same capacity with Klint Kubiak? There's a lot of different components here to be considered. Like once it really settles in with the Who Dat Nation, that Klint Kubiak is here and not Sean Payton's system anymore, or his acolyte, Pete being here anymore, and Sean Payton's gone, and now it's Klint Kubiak's 49er style offense. It's a mixture with Kyle Shanahan doing all this kind of stuff. Here, does Taysom fit? How do certain players look in Kubiak style of system is the question. So I mean, I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. I would think anybody is as polished and as athletically gifted and a utility player like Taysom Hill could be used in a multitude of different roles. I remember the Saints was using him as fullback at one time. That was fascinating. He does whatever the team wants him to do. So he could be a force in anybody's offense. He's willing to do whatever it takes to win. Dana says it true, but Carr, not only the QB Juwan played with, it's 2024. If Juwan was going to be a dog tight end, he would have been. Look at Dalton Kincaid in his rookie season. You either got it or you don't know. Yeah, you make a great point there, Dana. But like I said, the Saints offense last year, man, it just when the quarterback struggles and when the quarterback can't find you, you could be running the best routes, you could be presenting yourself, going out there and doing your thing. And if the guy is if he's looking in a different direction, or if he's throwing the ball at your feet or throwing it above your head or throwing it in a spot where you have to reach out and get hit and take the ball and get hurt. I mean, it all works together. Like, and I was like, everybody's statistics could have been a lot better with better play from Carr, with better play from the offensive line, from better calling from the offensive head coaches. I mean, the offensive brass in that level, the Pete Carmichaels and so on and so forth. But like I said, it just taints everything. So if Carr balls and he does what he's supposed to do, you see Jawan Johnson's numbers go up. You see Chris Olave get 100 catches. You know, that opens up everything. That even opens up the offensive line plays better. It opens up Alvin Kamara to possibly get 1,000-yard rushing season, you know, or something to that ilk. I mean, it just everything was just so skewed because of random ass quarterback playing bad offensive schemes. Randy says, "What's up?" Randy says, "Klint Kubiak's dad is the grandfather of modern day offensive line with indeed. Yeah, his Kubiak's dad. Yeah, Gary Kubiak. Yeah, Taysom is 33. I just looked it up. Also, Randy says we use Taysom like how, I was thinking about that, but like use check. Could that be something? I don't know. That's interesting. Could we use Taysom like Kyle Juszczyk? Taysom 6'2", he about 230 pounds. Kyle, let me see. How big is Kyle Juszczyk? Let me see. Give me a second. Let me look up something. That's interesting. That is interesting. Oh, let me research something right quick. He is the same size as of Taysom Hill, y'all. He is the same. He's 6'2", 235, and Taysom 6'2", 230 something. So that is very interesting. You know, that is very interesting. And Juszczyk is 32. Taysom's 33. Could it be? Could it be? Could it be? Could it be? Jack says, yeah, they're about the same size. That is very interesting, Randy. That is very interesting. That is very interesting, man. And that could work. And I was thinking about, man, we need to get a Kyle Juszczyk. We got one. His name is Taysom Hill. If we use him like that, that would be very interesting. That would be something else, wouldn't it be? That'll be awesome. All right, so anyway, fam, let's get into this video, man. Y'all continue, y'all ask the questions here. We're gonna react to this Dennis Allen piece that he did with the NFL Network. So if y'all put one in the chat, if y'all get Dennis Allen said that, and his best buddy is Sean Pace. His offense, Kubiak style of Gary Shanahan, Gary Kubiak and Kyle Shanahan. Well, you got Mike Shanahan, you got Gary Kubiak, that connection. And now you got Kyle Shanahan, the son of Mike Shanahan, and Klint Kubiak, the son of Gary Kubiak. All these guys, these former Denver guys, working around the league. And that system has grown to success. The 49ers run it to perfection. And it also has other people operating the same system. You look at what Sean Payton, the Saints had great success with the Sean Payton system for 20 years. Now it's getting sold a bill of goods now because it was misused. With most systems, it takes you can't run them with milquetoast leadership. All systems deserve accountability. Like if you have a good system that you're operating for, and it was a time proven system that the Saints have had that they use. The Sean Payton system works when you run it correctly. So to say that, this is the best system that gives us the best opportunity to win, I mean, you pick a guy that that's a leader that holds people accountable, you would have success with that system. That wasn't Pete Carmichael. I mean, maybe Pete Carmichael as a assistant to help that guy with the system, of somebody that has some familiarity with it, like, oh, Sean Payton's system just doesn't work anymore. That's why we threw it out. No, that's not it at all. You ran it wrong. You misused it. You didn't run it with some oomph and some accountability. You had a milquetoast guy in there who didn't hold anybody accountable to anything, and that's why it failed. When we were asking questions about why the quarterback looks like this, why he looks like that, why the line on, and just you had nothing but excuses. There was no accountability there. But Klint Kubiak comes here, and I think he'll get a lot of room here in terms of what Dennis Allen, because one thing you can call about Dennis Allen, he's a backstabber, he's a weasel, but at the end of the day, he's not a meddler. He won't meddle. He'll allow you to do what you got to do on that line, and if you fail, then that's your fault. Now, he will spin narratives, and him and Mickey Loomis will spin the narratives to protect you, and they will even bring out dumbass stats. They would lie. They would misdirect. They'll, stuff like they did over the last couple of years to hide an inaptitude and mismanagement of what they was doing with this team. They'll come out and they'll protect you while you tear up everything. That's what I've said that all the time. But in terms of accountability, I actually like Klint Kubiak because he is a guy that he grew up in that system, man. I mean, that's like I talked about it before. It's not something you was taught. Like it's some, I just work with this guy. That's that man's father. And that's been a system that he's been knowing. This guy was brung up in this stuff. It's a whole nother world when you brung up in this stuff. You know it like the back of your hand. You got inside game on it. Like as a guy that's teaching his son the game, he gonna give him all the game. He ain't gonna hold nothing back. He gonna tell him all the truths. He gonna show him all the ins and outs. And plus, he's had all these different stops that he had along the way, where he knows what guys he needs to have with him to make it work. So he has a really good staff of people. The Saints basically cleared out almost everybody except for Barone and who else did they keep? They got rid of they didn't get rid of him. The running backs coach left to the Giants. Wide receiver coach Cody Burns got fired. They kept Clancy Barone, the tight end coach. They fired Marone. He should have been the first one. The offensive line coach, they fired him, but they did keep several assistants from different positions here. They got rid of Curry, so they brought in their own guys, Janoko. So, man, at the end of the day, all I can say is he'll have an opportunity to build that offense because, they want him to be successful. But boy, oh boy, it's going to be a lot of pressure on him to do that. Do I see Hunter Renfrow and this another Raider guy here, along with the rest of the Raider guys that come through here? Man. I don't know, fam. I hope not, man. Not no disrespect to Hunter Renfrow, but we have a good young wide receiver core already, and I think with Mike Thomas moves out of the way, that'll probably open up a position for maybe they'll go after a veteran, maybe not a more high profile veteran, somebody that fits what they or they doing, or perhaps they might address it in the draft. But I don't know about Hunter Renfrow, Randy. Not Randy. Who asked me that? I'm sorry, fam. I just had it on screen. There you go. Yeah, Randy. I'm sorry. All right, Brent says, sounding like George Bush. Yeah. Well, he you fooled me once. You can't fool me again. Oh man. But anyway, yeah, that's the whole thing, man, with the Klint Kubiak system. Yeah. We look in this, the Sean Payton offense actually was supposed to be designed to be a QB friendly system. We've seen in history backup quarterbacks come in there and run the system to perfection. They come in there because it's supposed to be designed to be QB friendly. The Klint Kubiak style offense is a very very lively offense. You see a lot of pre-snap motions going on, a lot of misdirect concepts to kind of confuse you, and then they'll attack you on an angle. They're really good at that, kind of confusing the defense, making you think about what they're going to do. And it's a really cool offense to run. But like I said, a lot of pressure is going to be on Klint to perform, because right now, this is probably going to be Dennis Allen last year unless they get the team into the playoffs. Another 9-8's not going to work. They need to produce a playoff, and all of them to do that, Klint Kubiak has to get his staff, and they got to hit the ground running. So it's a lot of pressure on Klint Kubiak to take this job, let me tell you. Thank you, Brent. Appreciate that super chat, bro. All right, DGS says Klint Kubiak will hold Carr. Yeah, I agree 1,000% with this. That's what I said when they brought Klint Kubiak in here, is that I really do think Klint Kubiak will hold Carr accountable. I really do think that. And that was the problem last year. they coddled Carr too much, allowed him to make excuses. And that was the problem. The issue with the offense wasn't entirely the quarterback. A lot of it was on him. A lot of it was on the offensive line. Kubiak will be tasked with fixing both. Let me tell you, it's not going to be an easy thing, too, for a first-time offensive coordinator. Now, he was a passing game coordinator, but the guy had never been an offensive coordinator before, and he will be tasked to take that, because it's different. Like if you got your own guy, like I got my own guy, I got a concept, I'll do this, that, and the third. Like you'll have a guy who's the what's his name? Used to with USC. He was with USC last year, and now he's he's with the Washington Commanders right now. I forgot the man. He used to be a coach for the Cardinals several years back. He's now the coordinator of the Commanders there. He was at USC. And now Clint Kingsbury, that's what I'm thinking about, Cliff Kingsbury. And he's up there. I forgot it. It's a Kingsbury, Cliff, whatever it is. Yeah, this guy's up here in Washington now. He comes from USC. And, of course, they're talking about him. Yeah, there you go. Thank you, DGX Kingsbury. You got him moving there now. It's rumblings about them potentially going to try to get Williams, or if they're given the trade up, they're going to get him. And what I'm saying is because when you're an offensive coordinator, you have an idea of what quarterback you want to have to run your system. You see, and even though Carr has experience in a multitude of different systems, you would think that his adjustment period to bounce from one system would help him pick up things faster. It most certainly did not happen, you know. It didn't happen the way we anticipated it. Will it be a faster process for this new system? Whether it is or it isn't, I'm going to lean on the side that it's going to take some time for him to pick up a whole nother system. And until then, they're going to have to figure a way how to run the damn ball. So, Ava said he was, okay, he had a little experience with Zimmer's. Okay. Was that a full year? He was over there, Avis? Throw that in there, man. All right. Okay, so with the Vikings later took over for in 22-12. Okay, there you go. Okay, thank you, brother. Appreciate that. All right, so he has some experience. Okay, I stand corrected on that. I thought he didn't. All right, so anyway, Brent says the DA, yeah. Okay, thank you, Randy. Appreciate it. DA said even it looks unhealthy, his possum complexion. Yeah, is that it got a bright light over top his head. But that's what a weasel, man. You take a weasel and a skunk and you mix them with a human being, that's what it looks like. Anyway, let's finish up here. Finish up here. Most certainly not the best, but we do understand that the Saints, and credit to the Saints organization, do looking high and low to find talent all over the place, whether at the big schools or the smaller schools. That's something where the Saints have shined a great deal and have benefited for in many different ways. I mean, we've had guys from small schools that came here and made impact. A lot of our undrafted guys really love the Saints because they really get a serious opportunity to come here and have an opportunity to step into a starter role and earn them some paper. And we've seen that happen all over the times. We look at guys coming here. You'll see guys like Nephi Sewell, who stepped in and did some stuff positive in the special teams game. So many of them. Hugo Amadi was another dude that just undrafted guy that just Saints give an opportunity to. He had a lot of positive stuff going for him. Isaac Yidam, JT Gray, who was a Pro Bowler. The Saints Rashid Shaheed is the ultimate one. You know, you talk about guys like Deontay Harris Hardy, and prior to Rashid Shaheed, who stepped up and did some stuff. Jawan Johnson, our starting tight end. Those type of guys having opportunities, man, to shine and over their counterparts. Remember, Jawan Johnson started off as a wide receiver at the back of the wide receiver room and then made a position switch, a year or so later, and then turned into the tight end. He was third on the tight end depth chart when he switched from the last man in the wide receiver room to the last man in the tight end room, and then worked his way up to be the starting tight end over the garbage time Adam Troutman bum that we ultimately got rid of. So, I mean, yeah, Jawan there's always some great spots for undrafted talent who are willing to put the work in. And like I said, Rashid Shaheed, Jawan Johnson, those are just two examples of very talented players that help us handle business in the city of New Orleans, man. So you got to give the Saints credit for that in terms of them doing the work to find these undrafted talented persons. So there it is. So anyway, that's the end of that particular interview from Dennis Allen. And also, man, we're going to get ready to get out of here, man. So listen, shout out to y'all, man. Appreciate y'all being in the building. Yeah, that's right, G5. That's right, sir. Carl Granderson. That's another one. That's probably one of the Rashid Shaheed, but Carl Granderson's probably, I ain't going to say the biggest success story we have here. But Carl came from, what was Carl Granderson? Wyoming, from Wyoming. Carl Granderson from Wyoming. And then you know what makes Carl Granderson's story special is because Carl Granderson had that issue at college. He came out, Carl Granderson got arrested and went to jail and was in jail. And then something happened with the judge. She did something inappropriate and from a legal standpoint and had Carl Granderson's case overturned. He was freed. And then the Saints kept Carl. They didn't cut Carl Granderson. They held on to Carl Granderson, knowing that he would be proven, and he got out of jail and was freed, and then came in, been a model citizen, worked out for the Saints, and worked his way up into a big fat contract. He the starter of the team, making what $50+ million a year, $50 million contract for Carl Granderson. He got his paper. So I mean, listen, fam, Carl Granderson, a huge success story. Y'all remember that, man? The dude was that, he got some trouble in college, got accused of something happened, got put in jail. And the Saints could have cut Carl Granderson. They hung in there with him. He was proven, innocent. He came out, worked his way on up to the big money, got the $58 million contract or whatever it was, 30 or whatever the contract was. I forgot what it is. But man, that was a hell of a story for Carl Granderson, man, from prison to the NFL. How about that? From jail to the NFL. Big success story, Carl Granderson, man. All right, so anyway, fam, listen, I'm going to get ready to get out on that. Listen, I appreciate you guys stopping by, man, tonight, man. Much love to the Who Dat Nation, man. The Saints, listen, they got a lot of stuff left going on, man, as we get ready to finish up this season, man, this offseason. We getting off into the offseason here. We got a lot of stuff left, a lot of draft stuff coming up. As the Saints getting ready for it, they got to fill in their staff, find people for Klint Kubiak's offense. Find offensive linemen, find wide receivers, find some if they're going to add the backup quarterback, because Jameis Winston might, he says he wants to be here, but we'll see how it all plays, man. Very interesting. Jack says, can we just get guys that aren't in can we just get guys that are NFL ready in the first 2 rounds? Undrafted free agent happy to come in because we wasted high. That exactly. That's one way to look at it. That's true, Jack. That's true. Usually, if you're undrafted guys, that's another way to look at the same thing, right? And if your undrafted guys are shining, it's probably because your drafted guys aren't. That's true. That's how you look at it, man. If the undrafted guys are shining because the drafted guys aren't shining. This is true. The drafted guys, Juwan Johnson beat out the drafted guy, Adam Troutman. He beat Troutman out. You had some undrafted guys that's beating the drafted guy. That is 100% accurate, man. We had Nephi Sewell. He beat out Zach Bowen for the linebacker position, made Zach Bowen a sub-packaged pass rusher, which is what he's supposed to be. They knew that. When Sean Payton drafted him, they knew that. So, yeah, we got free agency coming up, sexual battery. He made it through that, man. Carl Granderson, man, that was big. But anyway, yeah, a lot of stuff coming up, man. We're going to stay on it, man. But listen, I'm going to get back at y'all, man. Listen, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Please feel free to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'm going to holler at you on the next one. Much love, and who that to you, family.
Yeah. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, 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 Boogie like Vincent, I'm a who that. Sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shame for the championship. Bucking on town, duck down. Falcons pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy and you probably smell the crooked referees or Roger Goodell. Buggy like this and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like this and I'm a who that. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
whothatdaily.com. That's right, the whothatdaily.com. Your one-stop shop for everything New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelicans, LSU Tigers, even the top flight boxing news. So if you're a Who That and you're looking for a place to stay up on your team, whothatdaily.com is your site. The whothatdaily.com for the sport Who That in all of us. That's right, the Pro Shop is the platform store where you can go and buy all the latest merch to support the platform. Available at the Pro Shops, we have dozens of hundreds of products available for you and your family. Unisex tees for men and women, hoodies and sweatshirts, tank tops, kids and baby items, long sleeve tees, mugs, pillows, wall art, bath bedding, face masks, phone cases, stickers, bags, fanny packs, socks, hats, and many other items. Please feel free to check out the Pro Shops. The link is in the description section below.